You are looking live at the Arena, the home of the Oakland University Golden Grizzlies, but tonight it's a stage for the top national game in high school basketball. It's Orchard Lake St. Mary's, the reigning champion in Division I, the highest division of the state of Michigan, taking on IMG Academy, the #1 ranked team in the country, coming up from Bradenton, Florida. Hello again, everybody. My name is Chad Bush alongside Sam Stick Day. Rob Murphy will join us shortly. Robert Sherby, your executive producer. An electric, sold-out atmosphere tonight, Sam Stick Day. These two teams going at it. Well-known IMG in Michigan for the first time ever, and the #1 team for the first time ever in this great state of Michigan.
Yeah, and what a tremendous matchup it's going to be for Orchard Lake St. Mary's. Obviously, Trey McKinney, their nationally known player. Sherrod Barnes is going to have his hands full because Darius Acuff is going to have a homecoming game here at the Arena today.
Of course, the two players are connected. They played on the family together in AAU. They've also played together on the USA Olympic team. Very familiar, but now they get to go against each other.
Yeah, and it's cool to see two players take kind of a different path during high school basketball. Trey McKinney started at Orchard Lake St. Mary's. He stayed at Orchard Lake St. Mary's, and I'm sure he could have gone to other places and an IMG-type place.
Sure.
And then you got a Darius Acuff who wins a state championship at Cass Tech and then decides to take it up a step and go to IMG. They're both going to wind up at a large D1 college. Acuff committed to Arkansas. Trey committed to Michigan. So they both got to where they wanted to go. They just took different paths to get there, and it's going to be fun to watch those two tonight.
This will be St. Mary's game against 6 different games against out-of-state opponents, taking on IMG. Old hat for them. They're a national act, and they're on the road tonight here in Michigan for the first time ever to take on St. Mary's in a sold-out arena in suburban Detroit. We're back with Rob Murphy. We'll get the experts analysis, high-level talent. We'll get the college and pro experts analysis of some of the big headliners tonight when we come back to the Arena. Thanks for watching the Preps coverage of Orchard Lake St. Mary's against IMG. Stick around.
Look, everybody wanna go and talk. At the same time, gotta walk it. Better yet, run, go, hit a lick, divvy up with my homies, and we do it all again. Whenever we get it, there's no hesitation.
What makes people stand in this line like this for 3 hours? Because we're not Dunkin' Donuts or Tim Hortons. These donuts are made fresh daily, and it's made with love and consistency. We got the same ingredients. It didn't change. The people know that, and that's why they standing out there.
Lowering the shoulder. Swing and a miss. McKinley scores!
Welcome back to the Arena, the Preps coverage of this national battle between #1 IMG against Orchard Lake St. Mary's, the #2 team in the state of Michigan this past week, and a historic battle. And we bring in our expert analysis, Rob Murphy. Murph, some players playing in this game that are going to be looked at by colleges, but also pro scouts tonight. I know there's a lot of faces in the building that you're seeing. There's interest in a lot of guys on both sides. Tell us first about IMG.
Yeah, great buzz here. High-level talent on the floor. It'll start with Acuff, the 3-level scorer. He's a unbelievable player. What stands out most about him, Chad, is he's a winner. Winning carries. Won a state championship at Cass. Now he went on to IMG to get ahead of the curve to get ready to go to college. He's been super effective in doing that, and he's on the #1 team, and he's the #1 point guard in the country.
Sadiq White, another guy, top 20 player, headed to a place that you're oh so familiar with, Syracuse, where you were a 7-year assistant coach under Jim Boeheim.
Yeah, Sadiq is a really good player. I talked to the staff today, Coach Strawn in particular, and they're excited about him. He's an explosive athlete, a high flyer. He can block shots on the ball, off the ball. He runs the floor. He's good off the bounce. They need to challenge him to become a better shooter, but he's a high flyer. Sort of like a Sean Merriman, the guy that played at Phoenix and in Dallas and had a long career, big-time athlete with a chance to get really better with his skill level.
I'm sure he'll fit in nice in that 2-3 zone.
That
extending
wingspan.
Yeah.
They're excited. They're playing a lot more man now, but they're really excited about his talent and his abilities. And if they said if they had him this year, he would make a huge contribution right now. That's how good they believe he is.
Wow. Lastly, tell us about Kareem Stagg, the big fella headed to Georgia. What do you like about him?
Yeah, he's a great utility player right now. His best basketball is ahead of him. Great touch around the rim, can really rebound the ball, can block shots, and he can finish. He tries to dunk everything around the rim, but when he's outside in that painted area, he has a great touch, does a great job of running the floor as well. So Georgia's getting a great prospect that'll come in and improve and continue to get better. But all three of those guys you mentioned have a great chance to be play well in college, but also have a chance to play well at the professional level.
It's Rob Murphy, former assistant general manager of the Detroit Pistons and Motor City Cruise, and former head coach of Eastern Michigan for a decade. Stick, there's some eaglets as well that well thought of. I mean, Trey McKinney's a headliner, but there's others. Who should we look out for there?
You know, the guy I kind of told you before the game I want to kind of call my shot about is Mateen Cleaves Jr. You know, that's the type of guy you see this season. He's been picking up a little bit of steam. And when you go up a level in competition, sometimes that's what you need to spark your breakout game. Could you see that happen tonight?
I can see it happening, and Mateen,
right.
Mateen is really good. It's great that you highlighted him because all year he's continuing to improve.
Yeah.
He's had great practices, and when he's had his opportunities, he's delivered in a positive manner. So that's a great call, Steve.
And then another matchup that I'd like to see one-on-one, Sherrod Barnes, known for his on-ball defense, going up against what you said, the #1 point guard in the nation. How do you see that matchup playing out?
Well, he's tough. He's going to have a tough out tonight, but because of his mentality and how he approaches the game defensively, he'll be effective. And again, Western Michigan and Coach Stevens is excited that he's coming in next year, and they talk about how well he's a defender and also he's a leader as well.
Yeah, we've seen him get going on the offensive end a little bit, but I think this game it's going to be solely focused. I'm a defensive specialist.
Yeah, well, this is the time to show it. You're at the highest level, and they need him to at least keep Akoff in check if that's possible. But it'll be a good out for him. And
can't stop him, only hope to contain
That's
him.
right. That's right. They used to say that about Michael Jordan.
That's right.
Lastly, Trey McKinney, who we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah.
How does Trey fit in a game like this? How big is it for him on this national stage?
Well, this is a big-time game for big-time players, so I'm sure he's looking forward to it. Trey is a 3-level scorer as well. He can shoot it for deep. For this game, because of their athleticism, I would like to see him get off the ball, and he mentioned Mateen, so he'll play a good role. But come off some screens, maybe sprint the floor, get something easy in transition because they're going to make it tough for him tonight. But he has the ability because he's a big guard, sort of like a Jimmy Jackson type of player that can score in bunches, and he's really confident, and he's at home.
That's interesting. Jimmy Jackson, I like that comparison. Anybody else that you think of when you see Trey McKinney?
Yeah, but that's the comp that I've been giving him for a few years because he's a big guard. He has great size. He plays a little bit like Jamal Mashburn as well, but a little shorter. But at his size and with his abilities, for him to be effective, he has to score at all 3 levels. That's 3-point, that's mid-range, and that's being able to finish in the paint. Now, finishing in the paint may be tough tonight, but to get to the next step and the next level of his game, he has to become a better finisher inside against size.
Yeah, we're running down this list. We're talking about finishing in the paint. 6'8", 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", 6'8". He's going to go against the trees, but that's where his strength comes in. Because when you look at Trey McKinney, he's just built different. Thick from the toes all the way up through the shoulders, and he can handle the contact.
Yeah, because he has a high level of basketball IQ and understanding of the game, I'm sure he'll go in and use his jump stop, his pivot, or get his body into the defender to go up. But you can't go in there out of control because they'll erase it from different sides, and it'll put them in transition as well.
Yeah, pregame he was warming up by going on the block and taking a couple pump fakes. So
yeah,
you're right in calling that.
We've got more coverage coming up. Thank you, Rob Murphy.
Yes.
Murph will join us later on in the pregame show and at halftime and in the postgame. We roll on from the arena with all-star coverage. Stars are bright, and so are the lights tonight in Rochester. Thanks for hanging out here in Michigan. We've got #1 IMG against the defending state champion in the state of Michigan, Orchard Lake St. Mary's. The coverage rolls on. We're back with more right after this. The store is set up. He's got the order, and he's off. It's a full court press. These brands are knocking it out of the park. This, my friends, is the speed we've come to expect from this team. Just look at the precision of that move. And it's out of here.
Down there probably late in the spring, waited for his schedule to come back and to see where they were going to be, and then we had to coordinate with OU and when they were going to be on the road, and just we were able to figure it out. But it's going to be a great night for high school basketball in Michigan, and I'm excited for our kids. It's going to be obviously a historic test. But I'm happy for our school and our basketball program, and really the state of Michigan, and our Catholic League, and to represent them and the MHSA. So,
your team is 7-3 right now, 3 losses. Wow, it seems like a lot from St. Mary's, but you've played some really good competition to your credit and your team.
Yeah.
What have you learned about your team through the first 10 games?
That's a great question. I think at times we've played really, really solid basketball, and we've had, moments where we just haven't had that chemistry and connectivity, and we're just, melding a lot of new pieces together, with Jaden being out with football and him just kind of getting into the swing, and Zip was out for 3 weeks, and Sherrod was out maybe a week, and Peyton's been out a couple weeks. So it's just been, but everybody's got those issues. But, we're just still trying to find our way, and, I think our best basketball will be definitely in March.
You've got Trey McKinney, now the all-time leader in scoring. I know you're grateful for him, and he's been a 4-year guy for you. So is Sherrod Barnes. You've got the backcourt tonight to compete with one of the country's finest. How excited are these two guys in particular about the challenge ahead tonight?
Well, I know the moment's not going to be too big for them. And that's, if anything gives me comfort tonight, I know they're, Jaden and Zip, those guys are gamers. They played in some big environments, and I know the moment's not going to be too big for them. I do know that.
We know that they're a big team. They're a skilled team. They're pretty deep, 4 or 5 stars down the lineup. How do you match up with their size specifically tonight, both on the boards and also just keeping them out of the paint?
I really think it's just about, trying to keep the ball out of the paint as much as we can, and not having the defense collapse as much as it is. And then, but it's tough. You got to pick your poison. You got to get a little bit lucky. Got to mix things up. I don't think you can give them the same look every quarter.
Yeah.
You just can't, because they're just too good. And I think Cheeks is just playing so poised right now. I mean, he's really playing well. Like he's getting everybody involved and making right passes, and he is really, really hard to defend. He's always been an electric scorer, but he's really become an electric point guard now. Yeah. So
3 games against teams from the state of Ohio, 1 against the state of Illinois, and now you're second against the state of Florida.
Yeah.
What has high school basketball become? It's become a national act, huh?
I think it is, within reason. We still want to, stick to our roots here in Michigan and, play teams around here. I think the challenge is we only play 7 league games.
Yeah.
And when there's only 7 league games, you got to fill your schedule, and you know, trying to fill those games inside of their league play can sometimes be hard. And look, you know, we have the advantage now of playing some, you know, teams from out of state, and I think it's good. It keeps kids fresh. It's good for high school basketball in Michigan to, you know, for nights like this. I mean, you know, I don't know if we've ever sold out an arena before, and so look, it's now hopefully we come to play and you know, we're in the game, but I really do. I think it's good for the kids. It gives them a different look. It gives them an opportunity to, you know, look, it's going to be somebody else next year and the following year. We're always not going to be here, right? Yeah. So, you know, we try to, you know, set a little bit of path for the next guys coming up that, you know, want to get some more exposure and, you know, but keep it here in Michigan.
He's the MHSA Coach of the Year in 2024, Todd Covert, and the defending champions, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, to take on IMG. We'll catch up with you on Saturday in Grand Rapids. Always a pleasure. We'll see you then.
Don't remind me about that.
Yeah, there's challenges ahead.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Todd.
Thanks.
All right, we're back with more on the Prep's coverage of IMG and Orchard Lake St. Mary's from Sold Out Arena in Rochester Hills right after this.
In today's ever-changing mortgage lending world, the importance of true professionals has never been greater. At Success Mortgage Partners, we want you to have the experience of a lifetime. Founded and owned by Catholic League alumni, our family-centered business keeps your interest at heart as we help you navigate this turbulent market with ease. If you or a family member has a mortgage need, please call me, Owen Lee, at 734-822-9792.
Lowering the shoulder. Swing and a miss. McGinley scores!
Welcome back. Chad and Stick back with you from the arena. And we've got some high school basketball. IMG, the Ascenders, 11-2 on the year, number 1 in the country under Sean McAloon. And they've had 21 NBA draft picks the last 19 years. Big-time program, but looking for their first national title since 2019. Let's meet the Ascenders starting lineup tonight before the anthem. And they'll start with a local guy, Darius Acuff, their leading scorer, 23.5 points a game, Arkansas commit. State champion of the state of Michigan his sophomore year at Cass Tech in 2023. At the other guard spot, it's Felipe Quinones, 6'4", out of San Juan, Puerto Rico. 6 points a game. He's got offers from Michigan, Baylor, Cal, and others. Sadiq White is their second best player. He's committed to Syracuse, and he's out of Charlotte, North Carolina. He's a 5-star, 3-level scorer at 6'8". Kareem Stagg is a power forward, committed to Georgia, 6'8", 220. As Murph said, a guy that dunks everything. And Cody Peck is the center at 6'10", 195. And that's the starting 5 for Sean McAloon and the IMG Academy Ascenders. We'll take a timeout for the anthem. We'll come back and meet the starting lineup for Orchard Lake St. Mary's right after this.
Your Catholic faith, it's at the core of who you are, what you do, and the decisions you make. At Alliance Catholic Credit Union, we make your faith and finances work together. From home needs to business needs, from school to retirement, we've got the financial well-being of our Catholic community covered. Visit us today and see how your faith and finances can work together. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
All right, we're ready for basketball. From the Arena and Oakland University Division I school and the Horizon League under Greg Kampke. And let's meet the Orchard Lake St. Mary's Eaglets starters under Todd Covert in his 10th year. Eaglets, the reigning champions of Division I, the highest division in the state of Michigan. And the Eaglets roll it out like this. They'll start with Sherrod Barnes at the point guard spot. Sherrod's a Division I player. He's committed to Western Michigan. Crazy good on-ball defender and explosive point guard. Trey McKinney, the number 18 player in this country, committed to Michigan, two-time Michigan Player of the Year, and a teammate of Darius Acuff on the national team and in AAU. Isaiah Zip Hines is in the starting lineup, 5'10", quick guard, and a fine player, Isaiah Zip Hines, the junior. Peyton Kemp is not in the lineup. It's Quincy Wright, 6'8", big. And the other big is the 6'6", Jaden Savory in the middle. He's headed to Michigan State to play football. And it's a busy front court that's going to have to deal with IMG. IMG's going to have to deal with the backcourt also. Trey McKinney, Sherrod Barnes. Stick some fun matches as you look around. IMG comes in certainly favored as the number 1 team. What are some things that you look for early if you're a fan of Orchard Lake St. Mary's looking for that upset?
If you're Orchard Lake St. Mary's, you need to control the tempo of this game. You got to play on your terms and dictate it. And once again, you got to make shots. That's what this game comes down to. I know it's cliche to say that at a basketball game because it's so obvious, but against a team like IMG, you have to be on your game. You cannot miss open jumpers. You cannot miss bunnies. You got to take what they give you and make sure that you're exploiting every opportunity that you get against a great team like IMG.
There you see Todd Covert, the great head coach and St. Mary's alum. Coach of the year last year in the state of Michigan. Associate head coach Leonard Karshnia, you see to his left. And the Eaglets are also assisted by Brad Crichton and Marcus Webster. And we're set for basketball. And to jump it up, it's Sadiq White along with Quincy Wright. And the Ascenders of IMG from Bradenton, Florida, win the tap, and they'll come right to left. 11-2 are the Ascenders. Lob down low, and there it is. That's the big boy dunk. That's Kareem Stagg. It didn't take long before he ruptures the rim. 2-0 IMG.
Yeah, and St. Mary's going to have a long day if they're anticipating Zip Hines able to guard Stagg down on the block like that. He just raised up and threw it down.
Savory, backdoor cut. Zip Hines is stuffed by Cody Peck at 6'10". Handful of power 4 offers. Acuff for 3, no. Offensive rebound, Peck. Stick back short. Stick back second time is good. And it's quickly 4-0 IMG.
Yeah, and that's the guy Rob Murphy was just telling us about, shooting, handling. He can kind of do it all. And there you see him getting his own offensive rebounds and putting up all the stats in this first couple minutes.
Sherrod Barnes, who fell down, took some hard falls against Cathedral. Meanwhile, Trey McKinney for 3, Splash City. The All-American drills a triple to cut the Eaglets to within 1.
And as we know, that's got to be the guy who carries the scoring weight for Orchard Lake St. Mary's. The question is, who's going to score with him?
Acuff kick out to Stagg. Quinones with it, Puerto Rican native. Several high major offers, including Michigan, Baylor, Cal, Cincy. Short with a jump shot. Kareem Stagg committed to Georgia, settled. Quickly ahead, Jaden Savory, Glasser up, and a tough luck rim out, no. Stagg with a big boy rebound. Here comes Acuff, the Detroit native.
But on that last defensive possession for Orchard Lake St. Mary's, that's a win. Settling for them, taking a jump shot, falling away.
Trey from way downtown, Splash City, and the Eaglets have a 2-point lead on the all-time leading scorers, back-to-back Trey jobs. Down the avenue, Acuff rolls it in. And we're tied at 6 in this fast-moving first quarter, just 2 minutes gone by.
And that's what makes Darius Acuff so tough to defend. He's so quick, can do it with both hands and finish in the lane.
Elbow jumper, no good. Fight for the rebound, and Trey wins it thanks to the tap out from Quincy.
Yeah, Cody Peck affected that jumper, even though he was all the way down underneath the rim when he got the ball.
Peck with offers from Clemson, Georgetown, LSU, SMU, Wake Forest, to name a few. Trey on the wing against his buddy Acuff. Hook shot from the mid-post. Heat checker, no good. Acuff, 24 points per game. Kick down low, Sadiq White. And he misses with a foul down low. And the Syracuse commit, Sadiq White at 6'8". The 5-star will go line left.
Yeah, and there you see, we saw Acuff drive last time. This time, pull up for a jumper. Nope, I have vision in the middle of my jump shot. I'm going to drop it off to my big man. Trey has to follow him before he gets 2 points.
6'8", 200-pound Sadiq White, the left-hander, who offers 15 points and 7 rebounds a game. Also a shot blocker. Axel Newell will check in for Orchard Lake St. Mary's. He helped lead the Eaglets to the Division II state championship in football, where he was the quarterback. Splits the pair, 7-6 lead. IMG got the extra point. 5:15 to go in the first. Sherrod Barnes headed to Western Michigan out of the Mid-American Conference. And he's working against the big boy, Sadiq White, who gets busted for the reach-in up in his grill.
Yeah, and Sadiq White is taking on the challenge, shaking his head at Sherrod Barnes like, nah, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. And like we were talking pregame, Sherrod Barnes is going to be focused on the defensive end. Initiating the offense is going to be tough.
Sherrod says, all right, you're in for it the other way. I'm going to come at you like that. White already talking to the official. Flip back to Trey, responsible for all the points for the Eaglets. Draws contact, no call. Ran into Peck. Cheeks Acuff on the run. Working against Axel Newell. Wasn't on my bingo card to match up against Acuff. Left wing Stagg committed to Georgia. Back to Acuff, committed to Arkansas. Settles for a 3, Splash City. IMG has reached 10. They've got a 4-point lead with 4 and 30 to go.
Yeah, and Acuff wants to have a great showing here. He does every game, but, you know, coming home, your old fans are here.
Acuff with 5. Trey for 3. Counted in the foul! Did they give him the 3 or was he on the line? It is 3 points. Trey with 3 threes and a chance to make it a 4-point play and tie this thing up.
Yeah, and his strength, his ability to turn, get his shoulders square, and just fight through the contact and get that ball up. And we talked about Trey McKinney. You know, when you look out on the court, IMG is taller, but Trey McKinney is thicker. He's got that strength and he's got that base where he can bang with these guys.
Little big body bends, little Midwest beef. Count it despite the Sadiq White fall in. We're tied at 10. Why not? So Trey McKinney 10, IMG 10. Quinones to the top side. Acuff against Barnes, noted as the top on-ball defender in Michigan. Cheeks down the avenue, short with a shot, tapped out. Gang defense. Hines on the run. And he'll reset for the Eaglets between the rings against Acuff.
And that's some maturity for Zip Hines that we haven't seen early on in the season. He likes to press the play, and that time able to pull it back out.
Barnes for 3, and that's off the mark. And here comes Acuff after the Peck rebound. Acuff with 5 to lead the way. Down low shot by Stagg, distracted, and that's another dunk, and that's Sadiq White, the number 20 player in the class of 2025. He's got a quick 4.
And that is a man play right there. I mean, defenders bouncing off him, and he goes up for the two-handed jam. It is going to be a problem with that young man tonight here at Oakland University.
First, life gives us many. From buying your first car or first home to starting a business, Alliance Catholic Credit Union is here for you every step of the way. From checking and savings accounts and youth accounts to auto loans, mortgages, business needs, and financial planning. A full-service financial institution with over 70 years of experience. We're committed to serving your firsts, seconds, 50ths, and every day in between. Alliance Catholic Credit Union. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
So, we got a ball game. 2-point game, 3:23 to go, Stick. You surprised?
No. I mean, if Trey McKinney's hitting shots all night long, St. Mary's can hang with anybody in the nation. We know that.
Trey with 10 points, 2 rebounds early. Acuff with 5 points. Jaden Savory, the Michigan State commit for football. Savory came to St. Mary's as a basketball player. He leaves as a football player. Trey with a force 3, Splash City over Acuff. His teammate on the Olympic team. And Trey's on tilt early. He's got a dozen, make it 13.
Just so silky smooth in everything that he does.
Short corner banker good. Darius Cheeks Acuff from Detroit, Michigan, showing off in suburban Detroit.
Just so silky smooth with everything he does. I mean, it just the compliments keep going both ways for those two.
You bet. Substitutions both ways. IMG checks in off the bench. Jamal Jones. Meanwhile, Sherrod Barnes gets into the act and gets his first bucket. St. Mary's regains the lead. Check that. That was Trey McKinney again. He's got all 15. Shots and air ball, loose change rebound. Jones, that's good. That's Jamal Jones out of Riverview, Florida at 6'4".
Yeah, last possession, Trey McKinney showing you that baseline jumper that he's perfected.
Zip Hines jump stop in the paint, no. Big boy Jaden Savory rebound. Back to Mateen Cleaves for 3. Splash City, the Eaglets are on fire from distance. 5 of 6 to start the game. IMG is 1 of 3 from the long line stick.
Yeah, and that's the guy I'm looking forward to having an impact game as you get a steal by Zip Hines.
Hines coast to coast with a most. And the Eaglets with a 4-point lead with 95 seconds left in the first.
Now here's a matchup you love to see. Darius Acuff and the freshman Mateen Cleaves Jr. This is what I was saying. Mateen Cleaves Jr. is not afraid of competition.
No. Left wing, Beamer for 3, no. It was a broke Beamer shot. He's a good one off the bench. He's got 10 points to offer on average. Trey banging his big body, throws it up left hand, counted and a foul. Trey McKinney says, this is my state. This is my time. And the man-child's taken over. He's got 17 of the 22.
And his number one hype man, his dad, sitting there on the sideline hyping him up too. Look at him. He's looking right at his dad saying that, finishing with the left hand. And that's the strength and the ability to finish in the paint that we were talking about that Trey McKinney just has a knack of doing.
How about it? It's been an absolute perfect start for Trey McKinney in this game. Trey, right now, 6 of 8 from the floor, 4 of 4 from downtown, 1 of 1 from the free throw line, 17 of the 22. And he's looking for more here. Splash. Eaglets with their largest lead of 7 with 1:07 to go in the first. Thanks for watching here on the Prep. This nationally recognized game in front of this sellout crowd in Rochester Hills, Michigan. Acuff with 7, throwing different guys at him. He'll step back for a 3, no good. Offensive rebound, Jones sticks it. And that's Jamal Jones, who's got offers from Cal, Cincy, Clemson, Purdue, and South Florida, who offers 8.5 off the bench.
Yeah, IMG's size just way too big down low for Orchard Lake St. Mary's. They're doubling them up on the rebounding end, and 6 of those are offensive.
When your 7th man has 7 high major offers, you got a pretty deep team. And IMG right now trails St. Mary's by 5. Trey McKinney's been the story, 18 points in this quarter.
Just sent the double team at him.
Savory to Cleaves, back out to Crichton, who's checked in. Luke out to Cleaves. Rip, drive, reverse, lay in, no. Quincy, right, stick back, no, it was blocked. Blocked by Peck, but the statement was made by the boys from Michigan in the first quarter. They've got a 5-point lead against the number 1 team in the country with 3 quarters left. We'll bring it back in just a moment. Thanks for watching the Preps coverage of national basketball in Midtown.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 300,000 participants here in Michigan who take part in high school sports.
Trey McKinney's been the story early. No surprise, all-time leading scorer, but Stick, he's done some things here tonight against some high-level defenders in IMG. It's opened some eyes nationally.
He's doing Trey McKinney things. You know, you're not on Team USA for nothing, and that's what I was talking about. You know, a premier player like Trey McKinney staying home throughout his entire high school career, lifting one team to a state championship. It's been fun to watch him grow in the Orchard Lake St. Mary's uniform, and you're seeing it all on full display tonight.
IMG trailed by 7. They led in this game by as many as 4. Lead has changed 7 times. What a first quarter. The Eaglets will come back with Zip Hines and Sherrod Barnes in the backcourt with Trey McKinney. And Quincy Wright at 6'8", the sophomore, in there as well, along with Jaden Savory. Trey with it.
Yeah, IMG already going to the double team on Trey.
Kick, corner, Sherrod Barnes for 3. That's off the mark. Eaglets 5 of 7 from downtown with that miss.
And those are the shots I was talking about with St. Mary's having to make shots. When you're wide open in the corner like that, you got to knock that down.
Open look, good dial-up. Acuff, another good dial-up. Double screen, missed the shot. Savory with a big boy rebound. Acuff with 7 points in this game, 1 assist.
And you saw in that last possession, now when Trey gets the ball, they're going to be sending the double team at him. So it's going to be some open shots when he's able to find that open defender.
St. Mary's 8 of 18 in the first. Pretty even. IMG 8 of 17. There's a steal, rip. Jones the other way. Slapped out by Barnes, and that's going back to the Eaglets. Fine defensive play. Sherrod Barnes, the best on-ball defender in Michigan, showing his skills here.
Yeah, you know, he had a turnover in the lane, and aggressiveness doesn't stop there. He comes back and able to knock it off the defender, and that's what you love about Sherrod Barnes. Just because you make a mistake on one end doesn't mean you put your head down. You go compete.
Eaglets have taken care of the basketball. They had trouble on the road in Indiana against Indiana's top-ranked team at Cathedral. They had 17 turnovers in their loss to Cathedral. They led by 18. That's a Zip Hines runner, and he's smacked by Beamer right in the middle lane. And that'll be free throws right side for Isaiah Zip Hines, the uncommitted senior.
Yeah, Isaiah Zip Hines, we talk about his speed and his ability to dribble that basketball low to the ground. It's hard to strip it from him. He could get a little too aggressive from time to time, but when he plays under control, that speed is an asset.
Missed some time this year. Todd Covert talked before the game about all the guys that have kind of missed. Said no excuse, but just haven't had everybody together. Zip was a part of that group that's been ill or injured. Missed a few games with a toe. Splits the pair. St. Mary's by 6. 6:30 left. IMG led by Acuff 7, and they've got 4 from Jones off the bench. Acuff, who's been quiet since the fast start. Tough luck pop-out pinball miss there. Trey looking for his 3rd straight Michigan Player of the Year award for St. Mary's. He stayed here all 4 years, and as Stick alluded in the pregame, it's admirable for kids to stick around to a school, not transfer out, with all due respect to IMG. There's a block, and it leads to a 3-on-2 the other way, and that's Beamer with a lay-in. Trey Beamer with offers from College of Charleston, Mississippi State, Wake Forest, and West Virginia.
And I think IMG has kind of figured out St. Mary's on offense. If you shut down Trey McKinney, they're going to be stifled. That's why they've been sending the double team to him. Here it comes again.
Jones is juked out of the gym, and Trey just looks at him with sympathy. Eaglets plus 6 with 5:30 left. Acuff says, I want some oohs and ahs. No luck there. Sherrod on the run. 5-on-3. Trey with another one. You betcha. Eaglets by 9. And Sean McAloon wants timeout in the arena.
Trey McKinney, the previous possession, pulls the string and hits the jumper from the elbow. This time on the breakaway, the pull-up jumper, Splash City, as Chad Bush would say, for 23 points. He's got the Michael Jordan here.
Every high school sporting event in the state of Michigan has one thing in common: officials. Every game, every meet, every match. Without officials, there'd be no touchdowns. no three-pointers, no face-offs. Without officials, there'd be no games. Officiating is a great way to give back to your community and stay involved with the sports you love. And officials are needed now more than ever, because without officials, it's just practice.
Ah, yes, the Eaglets, 7-3 on the year. But don't let the record fool you. They played some of the nation's finest. And the losses have been tough ones. 9-point loss to the #1 team in the state of Michigan, UAD. But, hey, they're coming off a state championship, their 5th state title in school history. And Kalen Lucas, a notable alumni, former Big Ten Player of the Year at Michigan State for Tom Izzo, and a guy that started Orchard Lake St. Mary's, and the guy that Trey McKinney took over for the all-time leading scorer in Orchard Lake St. Mary's history.
Yeah, and what a cool passing of the torch that was. Kalen Lucas came in. I was seeing pictures all over social media, and just shows the brotherhood.
Yep, Kalen with a fine career, played some professionally in Europe, some in the NBA. Meanwhile, Beamer checks out. Sorry, partner.
I was going to say, talk about speed. I think Kalen Lucas had speed on him.
Serious speed. Bounce pass to Peck, had it stripped. Trey McKinney with sticky hands. The Eaglets, at the end of the day, they hang their hat on this defense.
That's been a Todd Covert specialty. You know, man-to-man switch defense, we're going to play tough.
Trey with another one. Not this time. He checkers off, and down behind the play is Kareem Stagg, the 6'8", 220 dunk machine. Acuff is fouled, and he scored it. Darius Acuff Jr. from Detroit gets a big and one off of the glass, playing through contact.
Yeah, Acuff has kind of been forcing his offense here in this first half. You don't know if that's because he's home and he wants to put on a show for everybody, but that time, forcing it worked. He went through the contact, through 3 players, able to get himself an and one.
Sean McAloon will go smaller stick. He checks out the 6'10 Peck, and he checks in the 6'4 Quinones. Meanwhile, Todd Covert counters. Quincy Wright at 6'8 sits, and the Eaglets bring Mateen Cleaves back in, along with Axel Newell. St. Mary's by 6. They've led by as many as 9. No look down to Savory. Big boy lay-in good over Sadiq White. That's a tight end headed to Michigan State.
Yeah, and that's another big body guy for Orchard Lake St. Mary's. You know, IMG, these are all pure basketball player bodies. St. Mary's got a couple football guys out there, too.
Yep, 2 of them right now in Savory and Newell. Acuff getting loose and sinks it around Cleaves. Acuff showing off that 3-level scoring.
And how pretty was that when you scissor kick the legs apart, kind of fading to your right? That's a beautiful jump shot.
2 of 7 from downtown, 5 of 13 in the game for Acuff. Cleaves with a step back. Splash City for number 3. That's a freshman. That's a 15-year-old. That's Mateen Cleaves Jr., the son of the former national champion Michigan State Spartans. Out of bounds, back to the Eaglets. Another ooh and ah as the Eaglets knock down their 7th triple in 10 tries.
And that's something you see out of Mateen Cleaves Jr. that you don't see out of a lot of freshmen. Just very methodical when he has the basketball. You're not going to speed this young man up. You can tell he's played against some good players. I'm assuming his dad one-on-one in the parking lot, too.
You think he beats his dad one-on-one?
I don't know if he beats him, but I know he plays him.
Was 5'9" in April. He's now 6'3". Trey with another one. Get out of here. Splash City for Trey McKinney. St. Mary's by 11 with 3 minutes to go until the break. This sellout crowd on their feet and a bit in shock. The number 1 team on the ropes.
St. Mary's forcing Acuff to his left there. Trey McKinney taking away that right-hand dribble. Forces a cross-court pass that got tipped out of bounds by Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
Ball out of bounds. Beamer to trigger to Quinones, the pride of Puerto Rico.
And this gym is buzzing.
Yes, sir. Acuff against his former teammate Trey McKinney. Step back against Trey, no. And the rebound by McKinney. 2.5 to go. Eaglets with their largest lead of 11. IMG once led in this game by 4.
And you can tell they want to take away that left-handed shot.
Trey with a kick to the hot hand. The rookie Cleaves. Banker rules out. Quinones on the run. to the heady big boy, and that's a Stagg slam, his third of the game.
And normally you don't recommend a bounce pass to a big man on the run, but when you got an athlete like Stagg, just get it in his area, and he's going to get those paws on it.
The pride of Chesapeake, Virginia. Cleaves with a couple triples in this game. Getting bodied, but again, stayed poised. And now Trey just toying with Quinones.
Here comes the double.
26 for Trey is the story in this game. St. Mary's in no rush. Todd Covert's going to back it out and run 4 corners. You like this call?
I mean, you have the lead. I don't know. Time will tell. Todd Covert knows what he's doing.
Cleaves steps into an 18-foot rainbow and fills it up. Mateen Cleaves off the bench. A story again tonight in the biggest game of the year for the Eaglets. He's got 8.
Yeah, and IMG's just got to stay on the floor when they're charging him before he takes his shot. A couple times they've gotten caught up in the air, and that's when he's been able to hit that jump shot after they've flown by.
Acuff misses with a rollout. Eaglets being aggressive, physical. Trey's hunting another shot. Why not? And that is why not. Offensive foul.
Yeah, a little forearm shiver there, and that's 2 on Trey right there. You see that right arm extend. Not a lot, but when the player goes flying like that, the official's most likely going to call it.
So Trey will sit for the final 61 seconds. Isaiah Zip Hines returns, and IMG with a key offensive set here, down 11. 2 losses on the year, 11-2, but they're thought so highly of by the experts that they've still ranked them number 1. Bounce in the paint. Double team. Kick out. Quinones for 3. Got it. That's Felipe Quinones, the number 36 player in the junior class, who averages 6 points a game.
Yeah, they said he hasn't been highly recruited as of yet just because he's a junior, but he's definitely on the radar of a lot of schools.
One of those schools is Michigan, who's in the house tonight, that have offered him. St. Mary's wants the final shot, it appears. Barnes double teamed with that length and Sadiq White, and he throws it away. It works. Acuff all the way, and the lay-in good. And Barnes couldn't handle the double team, and this is the turnover trouble St. Mary's has had. 7 seconds left. They've got to hustle. Throw ahead Cleaves. 3 seconds, 2 second, 1 at the buzzer. Barnes rolls it in. Sherrod Barnes, who turned it over, gets redemption in the final seconds, and the Eaglets lead by 8 points as IMG, the number 1 team in the country, trails on the road stick.
Yeah, and you think IMG found a little something defensively there in the end. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with that full court press here in the second half, force some ball handling out of Orchard Lake St. Mary's, try to get some extra possessions coming out. But if you're Orchard Lake St. Mary's, you could not have drawn it up any better. Trey McKinney coming out, doing what Trey McKinney does. 26 points to go with 7 rebounds.
We'll come back with Rob Murphy's expert analysis and much, much more as we roll on from the arena. Eaglets perhaps brewing something special in Michigan.
Hi, I'm Nick DePonio, and this is HVAC.
We are the MHSAA, a collection of 750 high schools and 750 middle schools, from Temperance to Copper Harbor, from New Buffalo to Alpena. Each year, more than 250,000 students play one of our 28 sports. More than 1.5 million fans attend our postseason games. There are 30,000 coaches and 8,000 officials, not to mention all of the volunteers. The MHSAA believes in the 4 S's. School sports should be safe and kept in the appropriate scope. We believe nothing beats great sportsmanship, and that scholarship in the classroom is more important than excellence on the field or court. Most of all, we believe school sports should be fun. So come out and join us at a game. Support your school, support your community, and come see what the excitement is all about.
Lowering the shoulder.
Swing and a miss.
McKinley scores!
We've got a dandy in this national affair between number 1 ranked IMG, the Ascenders against Orchard Lake St. Mary's. And of course, we've got something that you couldn't write a script any better for. Stick, this is a game that St. Mary's, well, most thought this is an underdog. They've stepped up in this game.
Yeah, they definitely have, and Trey McKinney is putting on a show. 26 points, 6 total rebounds. And you know, one thing in this game that I noticed, very few assists. It's a lot of straight-up one-on-one basketball. Who can make the play? Darius Acuff, 6 for 16. And the biggest differential in this game, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, 72% three-point shot compared to 30% for IMG.
Rob, what do you
Well, I mean, when the lights come on, the big-time players step out, and Trey McKinney had a great first half. I mean, unexpectedly what he did, but at that level was great. One of the best shows I've seen in probably the last 15 years.
Wow.
But a great call from Stick was Mateen Cleaves. He came off the bench and gave great minutes. He was able to score, get the team comfortable with that second unit, but Orchard Lake couldn't have played a better half.
What do we expect in the second half? How would you guard St. Mary's now that you're IMG? What are some adjustments that you would make there?
Well, what Coach did from IMG later on in the first half, he was able to run 2 at Trey to get the ball out of his hands. They went into a full court, then a half court trap. You have to speed them up with hopes that you can get the ball out of his hands, force other guys to make plays, and you get the ball and come deliver on the offensive side of the floor.
Yeah, you saw Sherrod Barnes get kind of trapped when they were doing that, putting the pressure on him. I would honestly expect, going back to the guy you just mentioned, Mateen Cleaves Jr., to come out and kind of be that major ball handler here in the second half, because I do expect IMG to come out with that press. It was effective, and they need the extra possession.
Yeah, and Mateen is really good at handling pressure, high basketball IQ. He can score it like he showed, but he also can just settle you in and make plays for other people as well.
Well, and he's got a big body. It's tough to get him off his dribble. You know, with Zip and Sherrod, they're not really known for breaking you down like that.
Right, it's exactly right. Mateen is really, really good. I think he's their best point guard, really, and he's a freshman, but his time will come, but they're going to have to get good minutes from him. And then, you know, for IMG, it's like they started off great. Their size was effective, but once Orchard Lake settled in, they began to hit those shots outside and they got comfortable. And it's nothing like protecting your home floor. Trey McKinney, you know, wants to show everybody why he's considered to be the front runner for Mr. Basketball. But more importantly for him, he has other goals like the McDonald All-American games. So when you can perform against a team like that, put up those numbers and have his performance, if he can continue, it becomes a no-brainer that he makes the All-American games as well.
You've also got a counter to what St. Mary's is going to do after this pressure starts to come. How do you make adjustments if you're St. Mary's and thinking, oh, well, we're probably going to see some pressure after what we saw at the end of the first half?
Well, I thought, like Stick said, you have to put somebody in the middle of any press, but you have to get your good decision makers on the floor, guys who can handle the ball that's not afraid of the moment and the pressure, because IMG is going to come storming back. They're really good, and they're not just going to lay down. But you got to put guys in position to make sure you break that pressure and make positive plays throughout the half.
Stick, a chance now for St. Mary's, who let an 18-point lead get away from them against Cathedral last weekend.
Yeah.
Now they've got a lead. Now, of course, they're not going to know that they're in a comfort zone against this club, but how do they handle this lead now that they have another chance to deal with it?
Just keep doing what you're doing. A lot of times when you see teams do this, they're going to try to slow down the tempo, and they pull themselves out of the game instead of just being assertive and aggressive. And we mentioned it during the broadcast, St. Mary's, even though they're undersized height-wise,
broad-wise, they can compete with these guys. Savory's been down there banging. You got Axel Newell, who we know is a tough-nosed football player, and Trey McKinney. Like we said, that guy is just built, like you call it, a big Bentley, and he comes out there. He's tough to stop with the basketball. I'm super intrigued by how this thing is going to play out because IMG has the firepower to come out here and dominate. St. Mary's is hanging on to what they established, and can they keep it going? This is a great high school basketball game.
A lot of fun to be had. He's Rob Murphy. He's Sam Stick Day. My name is Chad Bush. More to come on the prep as we roll on at halftime. Right now it's the Eaglets of Orchard Lake 41, IMG Academy 33. We've got the second half coming up right after this.
Look, everybody wanna go and talk. At the same time, gotta walk it. Better yet, run, go, hit a lick, divvy up with my homies, and we do it all again.
What makes people stand in this line like this for 3 hours? Because we're not Dunkin' Donuts or Tim Hortons. These donuts are made fresh daily, and it's made with love and consistency. We got the same ingredients. It didn't change. The people know that, and that's why they standing out there.
The store is set up. He's got the order, and he's off. It's a full court press. These brands are knocking it out of the park. This, my friends, is the speed we've come to expect from this team. Just look at the precision of that move. And it's out of here.
Lowering the shoulder. Swing and a miss. McGinley scores!
And it's going to be a challenge for us. I mean, they're a really talented football team. I think everybody knows that.
Four wide receivers. Pressure. Steps up. Marshall wants to run again. Cuts down the middle of the field. All alone. Touchdown! Warriors! What a cut. Well, it's a game of firepower, and there you see the firepower for IMG. 23.5 points per game for Acuff. Stick so far in this one, not bad for him, 15 points, but it's taken him 16 shots to get there. How would you rate Mr. Acuff's performance so far?
I think if you asked him, he'd tell you that it's like a C performance for him. You know, him shooting, about 33% from the field is not normally what you see out of him. And he's kind of forced some shots that I don't think he necessarily had to take. But all that being said, this young man can put up 20 points in a quarter in a hurry. So I don't think he's going to stop shooting because you know what shooters do, Chad?
They shoot.
They shoot, and that's Darius Acuff.
So St. Mary's, who once led by 11, gets 26 from Trey McKinney. 8 points from Mateen Cleaves off the bench.
Yep.
And they get just 2 points from Sherrod Barnes, their other Division I player, 2 points from Jaden Savory, and 3 from Isaiah Zip Hines. They shoot 54% in the first half from the floor, 73% from downtown. The Eaglets 8 of 11 from the long line, and a 3 of 4 from the stripe. Meanwhile, IMG Academy, 15 points for Acuff, as we mentioned. Not much else there as well, but everybody that's played has scored. Stagg with 4 on a couple rim rock dunks. Jamal Jones off the bench with 4, and then 3 and 2 points for White Beamer. They've kept Sadiq White in check in this game. He has not had a Robin yet to the Batman.
Yeah, that comes with the lack of assists in this game on both sides of the ball. You know, Acuff needs to be a facilitator as well.
All right, second half. Here we go. Sadiq White committed to Syracuse against Savory, big-bodied, and that's a miss, and that's some of that football toughness you talked about.
Yeah, that's what Savory can do. You're not going to move him off his spot. That's a D1 tight end, playing down low for Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
White 1 of 2 in this game. Just his second shot for the second leading scorer for the Ascenders at 15 points. Right wing 3, heat checker Trey, no. Off the mark. Here come the Ascenders looking for the first points of the second half. Acuff lost it out of bounds on the tip. Eaglets get it back after the quick shot.
Yeah, and that's what we've been seeing out of Darius Acuff in this game, just pressing. You know, he had a 1-on-2 fast break there, and he decided to take it himself.
Zip Hines with 3 points in the first half. The uncommitted senior with a size disadvantage against Sadiq White. We'll see if he tries to take Sadiq off the bounce. Posting up Quincy right now low. Savory says, I'll take it myself. And he draws the foul against Peck. A little something new for Mr. Savory.
Yeah, St. Mary's being very deliberate with that first offensive possession, and there you see Savory using that big body going up against 3 IMG defenders, and he got kind of bailed out by the call, but it sends him to the free throw line, and that's number 3, I believe.
You're right. That is 3 fouls on Sadiq White. That's big. Free throw down for Jaden Savory, tight end, number 1 ranked tight end in the state of Michigan, entering his senior year despite only playing 1 year of football, a la Antonio Gates. And he quenches on both. He'll play for Coach Smith at Michigan State in football next year. Not the way they envisioned his career when he entered his high school.
Yeah, that just speaks to his athleticism.
Savory with 4 in this game. Quinones to the left point to Acuff. Crowd wanted a little walk. Foul on the floor, no shot. That'll be on Sherrod Barnes on the perimeter.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty clear carry that was not called, but, you know, semantics at this point. And there you see Acuff. You know, earlier in the first half, they were trying to force him left. There you see he's got that strength going to his right hand.
Lob play and a push from behind saved a highlight. Savory pushed him just enough, and they're not going to give him the shot. Oh, wow.
I mean, I don't know if you can give him the shot if he doesn't have the possession, right? He's just going to catch a pass at this point. He's not shooting the basketball, so I think they got it before the shot, before he touched it.
I think you're right. Spin, Acuff, perimeter, nowhere to go. Triple teamed, walled up, Savory with the rebound. Trey McKinney on the run. Trey, the story of the first half, 26 points on just 12 shots.
And once again, St. Mary's running a steady half-court offense here, looking to use the clock, shrink this game down.
Savory, rip, drive, kick. Western Michigan bound Sherrod Barnes, no. And the big boy rebound by Stagg ahead to Peck in the two-hander. An easy variety for the Ascenders.
Yeah, and those are the plays for Orchard Lake St. Mary's we were talking about. If you make that shot, it's a whole different game. You can get back on offense. Sherrod Barnes missed 2 wide-open threes so far in this game.
Peck with 4 points and 3 rebounds. Right about it is average for both. Eaglets by 8. Zip Hines, long 3, rainbow, heel out, no. And a settle job there. Acuff to the rack, all too easy. Hot knife through butter. And Cheeks has the Ascenders within 6.
And here comes that full court pressure that we were talking about.
Eaglets break it for the moment. Barnes dribble drives instead. Quinones swatted it. Contact, no call. Finally a call. And that's on the big boy. That's going to go on Kareem Stagg. That'll be his first foul and the team's second.
Yeah, you can tell Sherrod Barnes just sped up when he has that ball in his hand. And here you go. Here's the guy that will be your premier ball handler from now on. Mateen Cleves Jr. checking back in the game, but checking in for Savory.
Yeah.
So you're going to have 4 guards essentially on the court for St. Mary's.
Barnes sets it up, known for his defense, but certainly has enough offensively. It's really pass Cleaves to Quincy Wright for the hammer. The 10th grader from the 9th grader, and a glimpse into the future for the 5-time state champion Eaglets. Acuff to silence the crowd with a long 2, and he cans it from 19 and a half. Another look here at the distribution and the sharing of the Shiga.
Well, they saw it with Savory, right? Coach saw that he was dribbling. He was the one facilitating on the last 2 possessions. And you know what? Why not put a facilitator in there if they're going to let that position attack? So when Mateen Cleaves Jr. is able to drive like that, he will find the open man.
The right call from Covert. Eaglets by 6. They've led by as many as 11. Sherrod Barnes off the bounce, blowing by Darius Acuff. He says, you got to play D on me too. Eaglets by 8. Sherrod Barnes with a second bucket. Floater, Acuff, rim off, tough luck, miss no. Trey with an outlet. And Barnes on the bounce again. Trey back to Cleaves, little two-man game for a couple of men with Flint roots in their blood.
It looked like Trey thought about that shot when he got it in his hands.
Zip Hines, a little three-man weave out front. Cleaves, one of those guys you talked about, getting a lot of the touches.
Yeah, St. Mary's must have talked at halftime that they wanted to slow this game down, because it is definitely not the pace that was in the first half.
Elbow jumper, Sherrod, no. Tip out Quincy, and the ball loose. The Senators get it back after a clean look.
Trey McKinney holding his left hand. He had jammed a pinky or something going for that ball.
Mm-hmm. Rip drive, Quinones, handoffs, and the big boy Kareem Stagg flushes it back to a 6-point game, and Stagg now has 6 points.
Yeah, Quinones with the beautiful wraparound pass, though, lefty in the lane.
Isaiah Zip Hines with a tough shot from the free throw line, fading away. Acuff the other way, and the alley-oop to Sadiq White is down. Out front court running. IMG getting loose and stick. Todd Covert wants timeout. This is a dangerous zone right now for the Ascenders.
Well, and you're seeing the evolution of Darius Acuff, too. You know, he was taking a lot of shots in that first half. Now he's throwing up alley-oops. He's become the facilitator, and he's kind of taking that pressure off himself. Because when you have the talent around you like that, why not just feed it out to him? So I think Darius Acuff has come out here in this second half, and he's played a much better rounded basketball game.
So the second half has seen a 4-point advantage for IMG. 2:44 left. Eaglets in this game shooting better, just under 50% overall, 8 of 14 from downtown. And we get a look at IMG and the Descenders and the national champions of 2019. Private, 1,351 co-ed students. And Anthony Simons, a guy who is blowing it up in the league right now for the Portland Trailblazers, won the slam dunk competition. 22.5 points for the Trailblazers. And IMG's stacked with guys like this, including Zach Edey, the 7'3 center out of Purdue that was taken 9th overall in last year's NBA draft. I mean, they produced some big-time picks in IMG.
Yeah, look at that, running down that list that you got there. Zach Edey, you got Dwight Powell, Anthony Simmons, who you just mentioned, Terrence Shannon.
Yeah, Shannon went 27 overall last year in the NBA draft. So college scouts are here, pro scouts are here, all the stars are out, and we've got a dandy 4-point game right now. St. Mary's in the lead.
Yeah, Trey McKinney scoreless here in the third quarter. He's the guy that's got to get it going if St. Mary's wants to pull out this victory over the #1 team in the country.
There's a whistle and a foul.
Still holding that hand, though. You can tell something happened on that one play.
It is the non-shooting hand, but still, you got to dribble with that hand, too. And the reach in. And the Eaglets have to reset it after the 6-0 IMG run.
Well, this offensive set, you got to get Trey McKinney a look.
Trey yet to score in this second half.
You know the double team's coming.
Matched up with Jones. Kick to the corner. Zip Hines for 3. Short. And the Eaglets have slowed down from distance, something that the odds would suggest were going to happen in the second half.
Yeah, you're not going to shoot 73% for the entire game, but they're down to 47% now.
Acuff double team. Gino Bealey pass to the corner. Kick out topside Beamer 3. No. Offensive loose change rebound. Good. And the foul. The putback from Jamal Jones at 6'4". And don't look now, IMG with an and one could get to within 1.
Yeah, and if I was doing the stats right now, Sadiq White would get an assist on that because even though he didn't come down with the possession on the rebound, he directed that like a volleyball spike straight to his man.
Yeah, he did. Jamal Jones ranked 50th in the country in the junior class of 2026. Offers from Cal, Cincy, Clemson, Purdue, and South Florida. 1-point game. St. Mary's led by 11 at one point. They're getting pressure now. Quinones against Zip Hines. And IMG has been behind several times this year. They are a team comfortable playing from behind in the second half. Now they'll send another defender. Acuff to go get.
Jones doing a great job of ball denial.
Barnes to the rim, and he got it swatted. Sadiq White going to Syracuse says sayonara. And the ball out of bounds, baseline left. How about this?
That's another way to do ball denial, too. Just coming to my lane, no, sir. That is not going to happen. But Jamar Jones has done a great job keeping Trey McKinney from getting the basketball.
Double team here for Trey. Out of it to Barnes, now to Hines. St. Mary's stymied a bit offensively in this quarter.
Yeah, I'd like to get Trey the ball probably on the elbow, get him in the middle of that defense, watch him collapse so he could make a play.
Eaglets want to take the lead into the fourth quarter.
And the natives are getting restless.
Well, they've seen a banger of an offensive matchup get completely tied up. So Sherrod Barnes working against Jamal Jones. Sherrod, the number 2 scorer on this team. High ball screen for McKinney. Rip drive with 5 seconds to go. Kick corner. Isaiah Zip Hines in and out with a 3. And that's how the quarter will end. So the Eaglets by 1, but just 6 points in this third quarter as we take it to the fourth. A 1-point lead for St. Mary's, trying to do the unthinkable and knocking off the number 1 team in the country in IMG. Back with a finale after this.
Your Catholic faith, it's at the core of who you are, what you do, and the decisions you make. At Alliance Catholic Credit Union, we make your faith and finances work together. From home needs to business needs, from school to retirement, we've got the financial well-being of our Catholic community covered. Visit us today and see how your faith and finances can work together. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Want to thank our friends at Buddy's Pizza, 248-276-9040. Located just around the corner on North Squirrel Road, Auburn Hills. Delivering some delicious pizzas, cheese and pepperoni, Detroit-style pizza. We thank them for the goods today. Welcome back. Chad and Stick back with you from Arena. Stick, what happened in that third quarter? How do you break that one down?
Well, for Orchard Lake St. Mary's, shooting 20% from the field, including 0 of 5 from three-point land. We talked about making shots. That is not making shots. Trey McKinney, 0 points in that third quarter. But all that being said, you have a 1-point lead against the number 1 team in the nation. Darius Acuff picking it up in that third quarter with 3 assists. So IMG playing some team basketball. We'll see if Trey McKinney can do his magic here in the fourth quarter.
He'll get a shot right away, and that, count it, and the foul. That's a Trey McKinney lay-in, and I think they got him with a foul as well, yes. So Trey right away attacks and scratches the surface 18 seconds in, Stick.
Yeah, and that's where sometimes your athleticism can get you in trouble. I could never do that, but Kareem Stagg can do that. And unfortunately for them, two free points for Trey McKinney, and he gets to go to the line to add another.
Trey 2 of 2 from the stripe. Knocks it home. Eaglets by 4. They've reached half 100 in suburban Detroit. Stagg, top of the circle, the Georgia commit, and a big boy at 6'8", 220. He's rocked the rim a few times. Acuff for three, Splash City. Give him 22 points in this game, and that is his third three on 9 tries.
Yeah, Savory got turned around at the top of the key. I'm not sure if you want Savory guarding Acuff one-on-one anyways, but Acuff able to make him pay.
The Eaglets have led this game since about the 5-minute mark of the first quarter. Savory, short corner right, force up, no good. Wanted the call, didn't get it.
Now, the officials have done a good job not calling those kind of ticky-tacky fouls all game long.
Acuff, pull up, mid-range, count it, and IMG has the lead 51-50, just like that. They've crawled all the way back, being down 11.
Yeah, and St. Mary's was taking away Acuff's right hand in that first half. That time, able to go smoothly to the right hand, so I would assume they jump back on that.
Start, stop, Barnes, left-hand runner, no good. Cleaned up by Stagg. Acuff, no looker to Stagg for the hammer. Timeout, Todd Covert. The Georgia commit bringing the Thunder to Rochester Hills.
A nice no-look pass by Acuff there, and that's really when IMG started clicking, is when Acuff started to be that distributor, and he's showing he can do it.
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education.
That's Todd Covert, the head coach of Orchard Lake St. Mary's. 123-58. He's done a great job in his duties as the head coach. He was an assistant before that. Won a state title as an assistant in 2000 under his mentor, George Porritt. He went to this university, Oakland University. He golfed here. And Todd was the coach of the year, Division I last year, after he led the Eaglets to the state title in Division I. And well-deserved title for Todd. Look, he's played some stiff competition this year. He's had this team prepared for IMG, and they're 6:22 away from making this nation come on notice for St. Mary's Prep.
Yeah, Todd Covert's not afraid to play anybody, anywhere, at any time, and he's shown that this year early in the season by taking on Villages, taking on IMG. I mean,
yeah, that's right. It's the second Florida team to play St. Mary's this year. The Eaglets have played 3 teams from Ohio and 1 from Indiana. Savory in a nice 2-man game with Barnes goes up and will go to the free throw line. Beamer was stuck in a tough spot, and Savory took advantage.
Yeah, I love that foul by Beamer, though. No easy buckets in this game, especially a 3-point game. We're here 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I'm going to make the big man earn it at the line.
Savory missed that game against the Villages. He had played the night before in the Division II state football championship game at Ford Field in Detroit. Of course, the most popular place in pro football these days. But that night it was all about Savory and the Eaglets, and Jermaine Gonzalez, their fine athletic director and fabulous head football coach, bringing home the school's 9th state title in school history. He's trying to do that again this year. He already has a ring on his finger from basketball a year ago. Down low, Stagg. And he's fouled going up by Mateen Cleaves, who thought he had all ball. Saved a dunk nonetheless. You know that.
Yeah, but once again, impressed by Darius Acuff, able to keep the dribble. St. Mary's sent the double team, and he's able to beat the double team by once again going right. Now, St. Mary's was heavily favored in taking away that right hand in that first half. This second half, they seem to go away from that, and I'm wondering why.
Yeah. This will be the 5th and 6th free throw attempts. With the size advantage, are you a little surprised at the fact that the bigs have not been more of a storyline in this game?
No, because they really haven't featured the bigs as far as the offensive end. It's not like they're running plays for them down on the block. They're catching lobs and whatnot, so there's not that many free throws to be had.
This is Kareem Stagg, a top 100 player out of Chesapeake, Virginia, 8.6 rebounds and a couple blocks. The Georgia commit splits the pair, 2-point IMG lead, 5:40 left. First time ever in the state of Michigan the Eaglets have played the #1 team in the country, or anyone has played in this state against the #1 team in the country. Foul down low again, and the Eaglets are going to their big and savory and creating fouls and chaos.
Well, just as Acuff is being the facilitator, now Trey McKinney has taken on that role. They send the double team, a nice pass into the lane, and Savory doing the rest with that big body.
The Eaglets play out of the Catholic League Central Division. You look at Star Row, look at all these names and faces, and see John McKinney on the far right of your screen, father of Trey.
And Rashad Phillips is here. All eyes on 3.
You bet. Split the pair. Eaglets have been very good from the free throw line tonight, 4 of 6, or excuse me, 9 of 11. IMG 4 of 6. 1 point lead for IMG. St. Mary's has led for 3/4 of this game. Quinones with a kick out to Beamer down the avenue, and he's fouled going up. That's Trey Beamer out of Martinsville, Virginia at 6'1", and he's a big-time player.
And it feels like IMG has St. Mary's defense on skates a little bit right now, just trying to find who the man is. Great ball movement.
Yep.
And that all comes from their point guard, Acuff, being the distributor, once again, getting this offense initiated.
And giving some other guys a chance to touch the ball. And it is an IMG team that's not afraid to share the basketball. Despite what the stats do tell us tonight, light assist game as well. IMG outscoring St. Mary's in the third frame, 13-6. So, 3-point lead for IMG. 5 minutes left.
And you feel like this is a big possession for St. Mary's, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Trey McKinney trying to hunt that shot. Splash City! First field goal of the second half, and he's holding that left hand in pain with some big gain with that 3. 32 for Trey.
And that was the first time they didn't send the double team at Trey McKinney, so I doubt we will see him one-on-one for the rest of this game, because the minute they didn't send that double team, he was perfectly happy pulling up with that jumper. Acuff being aggressive again. There you see a look at Trey. Always square to the basket, always great form, and then you see him holding that left hand on the way out.
Yeah, concern with that wincing of the left hand. Darius Acuff Jr. as a sophomore won the state title in the state of Michigan in Division I. St. Mary's would win the following year as Acuff would take his show on the road to Bradenton, Florida, and IMG. They split the pair. 1 point IMG lead, 4:30 left. Zip Hines with a basketball. Mateen Cleaves back to Trey McKinney. Trey step back 17-footer. Might have been blocked, it was. Sadiq White got him with that wingspan. Trey down at midcourt, 5-on-4 IMG the other way. Acuff draws the foul. And the Eaglet fans and the home crowd and court of this sold-out arena up in arms right now.
Yeah, the officiating, I mean, that's a tough call for Orchard Lake St. Mary's, especially when Trey McKinney just got ran over at center court. And the officials were kind of letting them be physical early on, gotten a little more whistle happy here in the fourth quarter.
The foul is on Barnes. Acuff misses the ball don't lie free throw. 25 points for Acuff. He's now 2 of 4 from the line, 3 of 9 from downtown, and he's 10 of 23 from the floor. I mean, the numbers don't tell you that he's played his best offensive game. It tells you St. Mary's has done a great job defending him.
Yeah, you're turning him into a volume shooter.
Yeah.
You know, and when he's efficient, this would be a blowout if he was shooting 70% from the floor.
Yep. 2-point IMG lead. Barnes hits the deck. IMG getting physical. Will they run a double defender at Trey? Barnes back to Trey down the boulevard, and that is a foul. Trey draws it and gets to the line. Nearly got the hoop and the heart.
Yeah, I thought the IMG player was there and took that right to the chest, but the whistle going Orchard Lake St. Mary's way this time down the court.
Beamer thought he was there too. Trey will take it. Trey at the line, a perfect 3 of 3 tonight. 11 of 16 from the floor. And his numbers offensively, a scout's dream. 9 rebounds in this game as well to go with his 33 points. He could tie it here with 3:47 to go. Trey, the number 2 scorer on that team with Darius Acuff. The AmeriCup MVP was Acuff, but a gold medalist were Acuff and Trey McKinney, his teammates. And the USA U18 gold medal this past summer down to Brazil. Tie game, 3:30 left. Quinones for 3. Splash City. Quinones with a triple out of nowhere. And IMG jumps back up by a Trey bomb.
Yeah, what an interesting shot he has, too. Kind of like a sidewinder.
A little goofy look. Efficient, top 40 player in the country. Trey with a fader from the elbow. Tough shot. And on the run, White. Boy, even their bigs can get up the court quickly.
They have some athletes at IMG, that's for sure.
Acuff wants Trey McKinney, and Trey's up for the task.
And he's forcing him left. See, look how far he's playing.
Yep.
Favoring his right side.
Yep, he does give it up. Quinones now into the post to Stagg against the big boy. Jaden Savory. Stagg will go line right.
But there you see it with Trey McKinney. I mean, he's played Team USA with Acuff. Obviously, they know each other from AAU ball. His defensive strategy is to take away that right hand, and he seems to be the only one doing it for Orchard Lake St. Mary's. And you saw it forced a pass there and turned Acuff kind of into a passive player on that possession.
The foul on Savory, that's his 3rd. Free throw off the mark for the Georgia commit. Stagg. 9 points, 9 rebounds for the 6'8", 220 Kareem Stagg. A top 100 NBPA player this summer. 8.6 rebounds, 2 blocks a game for the well-built power forward.
Yeah.
Headed to Athens, Georgia.
If he passed by you on the street, you would not think that was a high school kid.
No, I'd bring him along on my team.
Yeah, he's a get-off-the-bus guy.
Yep. And let's go to the airport with you. You look really good. Trey to tie the game. No. Stagg with a big boy rebound. 2:20 left. IMG by 3. It's been all that and a bag of chips and a side of popcorn. Glad you could join us on the prep from Michigan. Cross-court pass to Quinones for 3. That's an air biscuit. Trey with a big boy rebound. 2 minutes left. Eaglets down 3. Trey McKinney, the story of this game, with 34 points. But a miss long there, and a steal by Sherrod Barnes. And a timeout by IMG in mid-steal.
Wow.
Wow is right.
Talk about a momentum-shifting call.
Well, we thank our friends with shifting our momentum and appetite with Buddy's Pizza. How about some large pizzas, cheese pepperoni? They got the Hunt Manna salad. They got Pat the Stat with a salad. Some roughage for everybody that wanted it. We stuck to the pizzas, but we thank our friends at Buddy's Pizza, Detroit-style pizza, the best, at 2612 North Squirrel Road in Auburn Hills, Michigan. Chad Bush back here with Sam Stick Day. Rob Murphy will be along shortly with his analysis. And we've had the kind of basketball game, Stick, we hope for. Look, yeah, we're from Michigan. Yes, we went to Orchard Lake St. Mary's. We wanted to see a good, full disclosure. We wanted to see a basketball game tonight that was special, and we've got it, and we've got everything we've asked for.
Yeah, when you get this many Division I athletes on the court at the same time, you know you're going to see something special. You know you're going to see some surprises, too, about someone popping up and having a game that you didn't expect. And we've seen all of it here tonight. And honestly, if you're talking about the 2 best players on the court tonight, you got to be talking about Acuff and you got to be talking about Trey McKinney, both from Michigan. So I think everybody in this entire state can take pride to know the athletes that this state is turning out.
That's right. Across the timeline is Beamer. Now to the big Kareem Stagg. 97 seconds left in this game. Acuff loses the defender Barnes, and he sticks a three to double the lead with 60 seconds left.
Yeah, almost a dagger shot from Acuff right there. Sherrod Barnes trying to fight around the screen, just couldn't get through it and lost his footing.
80 seconds left. Rip, drive, kick, corner, Cleaves. Gave it up with a closeout. Savory down low, and he blew the bunny. Frank Beamer was there, the bump, and the and one just didn't come by the slimmest of margins.
Yeah, and another great feed right here by Mateen Cleaves Jr. Just patient with the basketball as a defender flies by him. Savory just unable to finish down low.
Savory's got that great touch as a basketball player. That miss, not like his normal touch. Again, good hands, good athletic body. And that's a big miss there with 69 seconds left. Looking for his 8th point to go with his 4 rebounds, and he got it. 5-point game, 109 left. What do you got to do here if you're St. Mary's defensively?
Well, you got to get a stop. You know, you got to kind of sell out, maybe take some risks. There's still a lot of time in this game, but without a shot clock at the high school level here in Michigan, I mean, IMG could just dribble out the clock if you don't get aggressive.
Wonder if IMG's aware of that.
Oh, I'm sure. They're a well-coached ball club. Oh, nice pick.
Acuff draws the foul, and the floater falls off. And Sherrod Barnes got blasted on a high ball screen, and he's shaking the cobwebs out high on the right. Here's another look.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that screen, though. That's as textbook as you're going to get, Sherrod Barnes. He needs a teammate to be yelling out to him, left, 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 it's coming. As he turned around and ran into a brick wall by the name of Kareem Stagg.
Yeah. Stick around afterwards. We'll have our G of the game. And this guy at the free throw line has a chance for that. It's been a great return home for Darius Acuff Jr., Detroit native. And a guy tonight that's put the team on his back. 30 points. Missed the free throw. Nobody else in double figures. St. Mary's in desperation mode. Down 6, 40 seconds left. Corner, Barnes 3, need it, didn't get it. Friendly fire for the rebound. Savory, and he threw it away looking for Cleaves.
Yeah, St. Mary's with only 18 points here in the second half, and that is going to be tough to beat the #1 team in the country when you're only putting up that.
So, IMG in the bonus. And we've got a foul on the floor. Double bonus time. Fans starting to head to the exits, but look, the work has been done here. I know the Eaglets will be disappointed in this loss, but Stick, this was a game that we saw competitive basketball, high power, and some guys making a name for themselves on a big stage.
Yeah, and it was almost a tale of two halves, really. I mean, Orchard Lake St. Mary's came out. They were aggressive. They were physical. You had the gym going crazy. And in the second half, it just kind of seemed like they wanted to run that half-court offense, and 45-second, minute-long possessions just kind of ground their momentum to a halt instead of limiting IMG.
6-point game. Free throws are missed. Trey McKinney from the parking lot. Why not? Splash City, it cuts the lead in half, and all the folks that were kind of walking out just stopped. There's a traffic jam in the arena concourse right now behind us. Everybody just kind of hanging out. We'll keep it here. Trey McKinney says one more for good measure.
Yeah, now how big is that turnover where the timeout was called? It's a one-possession game, and Orchard Lake St. Mary's wishing they had that extra possession in their pocket.
Trey McKinney, the Michigan commit. And he'll play for Dusty May up the road in Ann Arbor. And look, this is a guy that you saw early on. He just had the fire in his eyes. He's got a double-double now. And St. Mary's with 10 seconds left, down by 3. obviously there's some defensive pressure that must be applied here by the Eaglets.
Yeah, you got to do it, and IMG's got to make their free throws if they are allowed to inbound the ball. But if you're Orchard Lake St. Mary's, you still got a shot, so you're not quitting with 10 seconds left.
The Eaglets 10 of 20 from the three-point line tonight, 6 of 15 for IMG. Trey McKinney, 37 points, Darius Acuff, 30. Three-point lead for IMG on the road from Bradenton, Florida. And Acuff, will they catch him? Running around, and he's fouled by Luke Crichton. And 2 free throws coming up for Darius Acuff Jr. Number 10 in the country in the class of 2025, and the number 1 point guard in the country in the class of 2025, headed to Arkansas to play for the great John Calipari.
That was a big free throw right there, too, because he's struggled at the line a little bit. He's missed a couple, so you have that hope. But no, he just steps up with ice in his veins and just knocks it down. You know, this was a homecoming game for him, too, as well.
And his numbers in the end will look solid. Hits them both, 4 seconds left. Sherrod Barnes at the horn for 3, no good. And IMG Academy holds on, but not without a fight in the great state of Michigan. Number 1 IMG 67, reigning state champion in Michigan, Orchard Lake St. Mary's 62. And a great battle, and we saw a couple guys go 30-plus points. This was all that we could ask for a competitive basketball game.
Hey, the headliners produced like they were supposed to produce, and that's all you can expect in games like this. St. Mary's, they just couldn't find that supporting cast. I mean, if Zip Hines and Sherrod Barnes can knock down that corner 3, this game may look a little bit different, but IMG just too big, too strong, too many athletes in the end, and there you can tell why. They are the number 1 team in the country.
We bring back Rob Murphy, and Murph looking at this from an expert analysis and the star power in it. You couldn't ask for more from Trey McKinney and Darius Acuff Jr. What did you see in both those guys?
Yeah, well, both of those guys played really well. I thought the big part of the game was the coaching adjustments after halftime. They ran 2 at Trey, got the ball out of his hands, and he forced other guys to make plays, which they couldn't deliver. But in particular, both those guys played a really good game. I thought Acuff, the second half, kind of settled in. He found some guys to get them going, and that opened up his offense to get going. He's very, crafty. He reminds me of like a Chris Paul, Chauncey Billups. He plays at a certain pace to where he gets where he wants to get on the floor anytime he wants to get there. And then if he's knocking down shots from the outside, he's really dangerous. And then Trey was Trey. I mean, he was great tonight. He had a heck of a game. You couldn't ask for a better performance. I think they slowed him down with the double teams and the press. But all in all, this was a great game, and I enjoyed being here to witness the greatness of those 2 players.
Yeah, and when you get all these people, all these great basketball minds, this is pretty much a who's who of the local basketball community here in the Detroit area. And when you can present something like this for high school kids and for everybody to be a part of, how much does that mean for the scouts able to come check out all these players and just for the local area recruiting-wise?
It means a lot because we haven't been able to had the opportunity over the last 30 years that I've been in basketball to put on an event like this. So to be able to bring this to Michigan with hopes that it can continue to bring people out, and then it'll also help keep players like Darius Acuff maybe at home and pick a school here in the state if they can get on this stage throughout their high school careers.
He's Rob Murphy. My name's Chad Bush. Sam Stick Day courtside as well. We will talk to our G of the game when we come back to the O-Arena. It's a win tonight for IMG, but not without a big fight from some muscle from the Midwest in the name of Orchard Lake St. Mary's. We're back in a moment. This is the Prep.
The store is set up. He's got the order, and he's off. It's a full court press. These brands are knocking it out of the park. This, my friends, is the speed we've come to expect from this team. Just look at the precision of that move, and it's out of here.
We are the MHSAA, a collection of 750 high schools and 750 middle schools, from Temperance to Copper Harbor, from New Buffalo to Alpena. Each year, more than 250,000 students play one of our 28 sports. More than 1.5 million fans attend our postseason games. There are 30,000 coaches and 8,000 officials, not to mention all of the volunteers. The MHSAA believes in the 4 S's. School sports should be safe and kept in the appropriate scope. We believe nothing beats great sportsmanship, and that scholarship in the classroom is more important than excellence on the field or court. Most of all, we believe school sports should be fun. So come out and join us at a game. Support your school, support your community, and come see what the excitement is all about.
Lowering the shoulder. Swing and a miss. McGinley scores!
Time now for our G of the game, our player of the game, sponsored by G Brand USA and the victorious team IMG. Welcome back, Darius Acuff Jr. to the state of Michigan, not exactly the Motor City, but congratulations on the win and the solid return. 32 points in a tough game against a team you're very familiar with in St. Mary's. How did it feel coming back?
It felt good. First game back. Started off slow. Just had to get it going second half so we can get the win.
You matched up against Trey McKinney, a guy you know very well. You played with him on Team USA, played with him in the family.
Yeah.
What's it like going with Trey? How close are you guys? How often do you talk?
Yeah, I talk to him almost every week. I don't know what he was on today. I don't know what he was on. He was cooking, though. That's my boy. He a pro, so it was always fun matching up with him.
Yeah, question I would have, halftime adjustments. When you guys went in, you were down. Those guys were hot. They had the momentum. What was the thought process from you, and also what was the message from your coach going into the second half?
I had to play more smarter. I feel like I was forcing a lot of shots. So that was really the talk in the halftime. So we didn't want to come here and lose a game. You know, that's not how we played. The first half, that's not how we played. I feel like I was just going to ISO every time. That was on me. So I just feel like we had to get it going on defense too.
Lastly, about Orchard Lake St. Mary's, a team I know you respect, but you play a lot of national competition. How would you rate the Eaglets amongst some of the other competition you play?
Yeah, they up there for sure. It's 5-point win, or however much it was. It's one of our closest games of the season, so they up there for sure. That was one of our hardest games we had to play. They wasn't missing first half, so we had to make some adjustments for sure.
Great to come back to the Motor City. What was the first thing you were craving that when I get back to Michigan, I got to have what?
Yeah, I wanted some Coney, but I ain't get it. I ain't get it. We was too far.
All right, man. We'll get you some Dutch Grill donuts tomorrow if you're sticking around.
Appreciate it.
All right, man. Thanks so much.
Yep.
That's Darius Acuff Jr., our player of the game, the G of the game, 32 points in the contest, and IMG's win over Orchard Lake St. Mary's. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back and wrap this thing up from the O-Arena. It's a win on the road for IMG, the number 1 team in the country, 67-62. Back with more right after this.
Today's ever-changing mortgage lending world, the importance of true professionals has never been greater. At Success Mortgage Partners, we want you to have the experience of a lifetime. Founded and owned by Catholic League alumni, our family-centered business keeps your interest at heart as we help you navigate this turbulent market with ease. If you or a family member has a mortgage need, please call me, Owen
A little inside scoring, a little outside. We saw IMG doing their thing early before St. Mary's settled in.
Yeah, the story of the game was hitting shots, right? We joked about it at the beginning of the game. St. Mary's have to hit their shots to stay in it. In the first half, 8 of 11 from downtown. Second half, 2 of 10. And that's the difference in this game. Trey McKinney had to turn into the facilitator. He was getting the guys the ball in the right spot. Open guys just couldn't knock down the shots.
And it's always about halftime adjustments. I give the coaching staff a lot of credit. They ran 2 at Trey to get it out of his hands. He was unbelievably hot the first half, carried his team. And I thought the size overall kind of wore Orchard Lake down. It's really tough to score over that size in the paint, and if you're not making shots from outside, it becomes tough to score.
The size was a big thing because even though they didn't get a ton of block shots, IMG, you could tell when St. Mary's got in the paint, they were pressing. They were kind of delivering at an angle that they normally wouldn't if they had the confidence of going up against a normal-sized human.
Yeah, and they hadn't seen a team of this size all season. And in the first minute of the game, it was 2 block shots. So IMG sent the message. In the entire game, they were kind of intimidated. Didn't have much patience in the paint, but I thought the biggest adjustment was taking the ball out of Trey's hands because he was exceptionally great in that first half.
Yeah, it's like that Ben Wallace effect back in the 04 Pistons. Like you know in the back of your head he's coming help side, so you're adjusting what you're doing before the problem's even there.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And the Eaglets would take advantage with Trey McKinney getting comfortable on the perimeter, hitting his jump shots, and they would ride the wave of Trey McKinney in this first half, who was on some kind of bender, Murph.
Yeah, well, he was unbelievable. What this game does, though, for Orchard Lake, they'll learn from it. This will put them in better position in March when they go to make that run. They hadn't seen anything like this. But Trey was good. His teammates were good in the first half in particular. Great call by Stick was Mateen Cleaves. He stepped up, and he was huge.
Yeah, I was really looking to see more of him in that second half. I really expected him to continue, be that facilitator, maybe have him be that primary ball handler, bringing it up the court. But it really seemed like St. Mary's in that second half wanted to slow the game down. And unfortunately for them, it slowed their game down a lot more than it slowed IMG's down.
You look at Trey McKinney, and he got dinged up with a finger, and I'm not making excuses for him. But was there anything, do you think, that got him uncomfortable in the offense with that injury to the finger at some point in the second half?
Well, you look at it, really the third quarter, he put up 0 points. Outside of that, he had 26 in the first half and 11 in the fourth quarter. So really, I'm not sure why he decided not to be aggressive in that third quarter, but IMG, you got to give them credit, right, Rob?
Got to give them credit. They came in here and played a heck of a game, and they're on a world tour right now, and these guys are delivering at a high level.
He's Rob Murphy. He's Sam Stick Day. Robert Sherby, your executive producer. Austin Sonnenberg on replay. Rob Hunter on graphics. Brad the Boss Ross on audio. Pat the Stat on statistics. Jamie Janssen on statistics. Chris Armani Rose. And Zach Wheeler on camera. And Dale on camera 1. My name is Chad Bush, along with Rob Murphy and Sam Stick Day, saying so long. It's number 1 IMG winning it. Your final score 67-62 over St. Mary's. Catch us tomorrow night for Detroit Renaissance against Detroit King. So long, everybody.